What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 379 of Opinions May Vary. I am your garbled host at the beginning there. Do you hear that? JR. I have my co-host with me, Alex.
Hey.
We are doing the Justice today. Just us. Probably a little bit of an abridged episode. We're 16 seconds in. We'll see how long that lasts.
The two of us just came off of a couple weeks of vacation.
Yep. Subsequent weeks of vacation. I was away last week. Alex was off this week. So we are lethargic, to say the least. And we're taking it easy in our return. Brett was gracious enough to join us for consecutive episodes for the first time in a long time last week. It was very fun times had by all. And then I went away to northern Vermont and had a very nice week of relaxation. How's your vacation been? It's been good. Sleepy vacation.
Sleeping is a neat thing.
Sleeping's pretty cool.
It's either, I have two stages. It's either I'll have time to sleep when I'm dead, and boy, I love sleep. And there's no in between.
Yeah.
It's like I'll take 3 hours or 10 hours, and I don't have a middle ground there.
But you're gonna cherish it all the same.
Yep.
And it's amazing how, getting old is great. I spent the entirety of my day. Shout-outs. I wanted to give shout-outs to the people who do it for a living. Not sleeping. That would be the dream. Literally. I spent the entirety of my day today installing a toilet. Shout-outs to the contractors and to the laborers, and the men and women who install these things because I installed one toilet and I am exhausted. And there are people who are like, yeah, so I got to install this toilet first and then I have to do a laundry list of other things. That's the first hour of my shift. And I have to do it. Shout outs to the people who do that kind of stuff for a living, because no, I cannot.
That's the kind of thing where I have to watch 17 YouTube videos to make sure I get the order right.
Yep.
And make sure I check off all the I's.
And the only reason I even did this was because back in December, the seal on our toilet was bad, so we were leaking water in the basement. And my friend, who is my dear friend, who is a contractor, he's one of those people who does it for a living. He came over, saved the day, because we were hosting Christmas in 2 days' time with a bad toilet. I had a lot of family members coming over.
That'd be neat.
It would be real bad. A lot of pee water dropping down on my washer. And he came over and saved the day, showed me how to change out a seal, and he's like, honestly, this is just how you change out a toilet too. So gave me the motivation. And then 6 months later, we finally have a new toilet. And I think it's actually done right. So shout outs to my man Chris for being talented at things that I will never have any talent at.
You could help me do mine now if I need it.
I can help you. Okay, so ever since I bought a house now, I can help you change out a faucet, both kitchen and bathroom, because they're different beasts. I can change out a ceiling fan.
There's still sinks though.
Right, but kitchen sink's a little more involved than a bathroom sink.
There's no comfortable way to lay under that.
Yeah, there's no comfortable position. I will say, personal experience, bathroom sink much easier than kitchen sink. I changed out a ceiling fan.
Which one has the greater chance of plumber's crack?
Oh wow.
See, I usually figure it's the kitchen one.
Yeah, I mean, well, kitchen, like, you can typically, depending on your cabinet, you can like lay in it and work upwards.
The angle in there just isn't.
Yeah,
not for me.
But bathroom, it's a small little vanity. So I was.
You just pop a squat in that one.
Yeah, pop a squat. But faucet was one of the most rewarding things because it was pretty easy. Although the kitchen faucet was. Anyways, this is really riveting shit. I've also changed out a ceiling fan. That one, my main joke that I give to everyone, that when I changed out the ceiling fan, I only threw one screwdriver across the room. So that shows the level of frustration. So if you need help changing out a ceiling fan in the exact type of situation that I was in, I can help you. But if there's a single thing that's different, we're going to YouTube. It is. I remember we talked about that a couple years ago with like your dad with like the hitch to his ATV or something like that, and how he learned how to like hook up a plow.
Yeah,
just from YouTube.
Yep.
It's amazing the shit you can learn.
There's a lot of stuff you already knew.
Right.
But then they come up with new things.
We talked about YouTube last week. This is what we should have been talking about.
I had to check YouTube to figure out how to take the car battery out of my last car.
It can be difficult.
Because my battery died.
Mm-hmm.
Time to replace. Couldn't get it out.
Yep.
I had a Kia Soul. Oddly, it's like locked in there somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to take a bunch of shit off of it to like unscrew it. Because otherwise it won't come out. It's locked in.
I had to...
And there's no way to know. Like, no, the common plebe isn't going to know
what's supposed to come off and what's supposed to stay.
Yep. Yep.
Back in the day, it used to just be red and black is on your battery. You take those
lift.
off and the battery comes out.
Not anymore.
There might even be a little tie down across the top of it. You just unscrew those bolts.
Or a elastiband. Strappy strap.
Right. It's a good strappy strap. When I had to, my wife's battery died and we were trying to like jumpstart it or boost it, like, you know, jumper cables
Mm-hmm.
and like, there's so much stuff on the terminals, not corrosion, but like boxes and things that are attached to the battery now. It's I don't know where to clip these jumper cables because there's no room for them.
And it's like but now those things fit correctly.
Right.
If you ever seen someone like mess with those back in the day, where like the clamp won't fit over the knob on the battery, right?
Yeah.
So what you do is you just take a screw, and you wedge it there in between the clamp and the battery head there, and it's fine. It's fine.
You might die, but you also might successfully start your car.
If there is a fire, you'll know why.
Yeah. Yep. So, and you could also, if you put it on backwards, you could risk frying the entire electrical system in your car.
We know a piece of shit that did that to his car.
Do we?
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to talk about that off air. I'm very excited to hear about this. But yeah, being an adult simultaneously sucks ass and is the most kick-ass thing in the world because no one can tell me that I can't have s'mores for dinner. When I got home from vacation, we had a lot of s'more making materials left, so I have a microwave.
Get yourself a snack. I got a cake.
Yeah, exactly. I got that actually happened on vacation.
Did it?
Yeah, we were going. We stayed on. Getting in vacation. Lake Carmi up in very, very, very northern Vermont. Very dear place to me. My extended family used to have a cabin on the lake. We had to sell it a couple years ago. We, meaning my extended family, because they were the ones who managed it. We would just visit it every summer for 4th of July. Lake is a very dear place to me. Loved going there. Haven't been there since 2012. Rented a cabin from a very kind woman, and spent a week up there last 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And at one point, there's a general store, which is like, it's a staple of my childhood. You need anything, you go to the general store. Mm. It has anything you might need. It has the creaky wood floors. Mm-hmm. It's just being in there, real nostalgia, all up in my face.
Ours also has like a deli counter.
Yes.
We would get subs from them.
They even have I don't know if they had this when I was a kid because I didn't really pay attention. They had like a butcher. Like they like there's everything that you could possibly need there.
So when you catch your fish, you just bring them.
Exactly.
They'll fillet them.
They'll fillet it and take the bones out and all that stuff.
Or you could just watch Chef Ramsay do it.
Right. Yeah.
With his eyes closed.
He'll make 18 portions out of a 2-ounce fish. And so we're getting ready to take a trip to the general store. It was me and my wife, and I was there with our very good friend Joe, and our very good friend Colin, and Sinead, a good friend of the show as well, and Joe's girlfriend Ebru was with us as well. And Ebru was going to come with us to the general store, and I was like, "Hey Joe, you need anything?" And he's like, "Yeah, just give me something, like whatever." It was just pick me up something. It was like a challenge,
right?
Almost.
Yeah.
So Ebru. She's great. She's a good one because what did she got him a cake. She found a cake like in the fridge and she's like, I got Joe a cake. And we went back and we had cake for dessert after dinner that night.
Nice.
And it was mediocre. It was about as much as you would expect from general store cake, but at the same time it was delicious and amazing because like it had a nice story behind it.
That's some good vacation.
You're
welcome. Yeah.
Yep.
This is why I'm here. That's the only reason.
It's the only reason. But yeah, we're adults. We can have whatever we want for dinner, but also everything hurts. And I just want to sleep all the time. Fun fact, I lifted my old toilet for maybe 30 seconds today, and my back feels like I lifted 18,000 pounds consecutively for the last 6 months. I'm in not pain. I'm just sore from lifting a toilet and moving it from my bathroom one room over. It's still there. I haven't even gotten rid of it yet.
Don't just smash it. That's a mistake.
That's a mistake?
They're harder to get rid of that way.
Really?
Because then you got to pick up all the pieces.
Right. Well, I refer to it as Shawshanking. I did it with a treadmill, and I plan on doing it with my toilet. Where
just dig
break
a hole
it down.
in the wall?
No, you similar. You break it down into pieces and you throw it out little by little.
Okay.
Because if I put an entire treadmill in my garbage bin, they're gonna have a problem with that.
Yeah.
But if I just put maybe a couple pieces,
Right.
like here's a metal beam.
Here's the length of.
Here's
plastic.
a tube thing that used to spin the belt. Here's the belt itself. And then over 4 or 5 weeks, I've thrown out an entire treadmill in my garbage can.
It's good patience.
Which I have done. And I plan on doing with my toilet. My friend my contractor friend, when I was bragging and sending him snaps of my toilet flushing successfully without water spraying everywhere, he's like, do you plan on Andy Dufresneing your old toilet? And I that was my plan all along.
See, my parents watch a lot of the remodeling shows.
Yep.
And one of them, either Property Brothers or Income Property or whatever those are.
There's 18,000 different ones.
And so one of the things they do is, it's time to demo. We're just going to smash the hell out of everything.
Yep.
And then you got to pick up all the pieces.
There's a team that comes in. They do that off camera.
If you could just cut the wall and carry the wall out, like that's so much easier.
That's preferred.
And then the host made the bet to the dude who owned the house or whatever. He's like, oh, throw the toilet into the garbage.
Did he miss?
Into the dumpster from here. It was like an 8-foot shot, and he made it 3 feet.
Yep.
And now there's this toilet all over his walkway and lawn.
Yep.
In pieces.
And he gets, or who knows if he even had to pick that up, or if some member of the crew, faceless guy that you never see on camera, gets paid $10 an hour.
Man, I have a lot to say about those crews, but we're not going to do that now.
Yeah. The extent of my experience with those shows is just what I see on the treadmill before I take my glasses off. And I see the typical, you see the memes everywhere, like, hey, I'm a beet farmer, and
I'm a pencil sharpener,
and my wife sharpens pencils for a living.
Our budget is $2 million.
Our budget is and they end up buying a house that costs $6 million. We went a little over budget, but honestly, and then you just see they sold it 6 months later.
She'll have to whisper to some extra butterflies.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm glad you guys didn't get lost on your vacation.
We didn't get lost. Lost like the show?
Mm-hmm.
Does that take place in Vermont?
No. It's our really good segue.
We're segueing?
Who ran Lost?
You did it.
I did.
See, I've seen one episode of Lost, so I forget that this person was involved with it. But let's talk about some good old-fashioned nepotism.
I choked.
Breaking news.
Big news this week in the comic book world. Marvel had a very special, sneaky lead-up announcement where they're going to say, hey, we got a big announcement in 4 days. Pay attention.
Everyone thought it was Spider-Man 4.
In 3 days, we got a huge announcement. Let's see what Tom Holland has to say. None of that is what it was.
Yep, it was just a countdown.
It's a new comic book series. Or it's we've had it before. It's called Spider-Man. We've had lots of Spider-Man series. This will be volume, 7. That's okay. We could get some more Spider-Man.
It's just called Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Not amazing, not sensational, not spectacular. It's just not Ben Reilly. It's not
Ultimate,
2099. It's not Ultimate.
Miles.
It's just Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
We've already had 3 of those. They come and go. It's fine. But there's a super duper mega superstar brand new writer. And I'm going to phrase it like IO9 did on their news article. J.J. Abrams is writing a Spider-Man comic with his son.
Was there an ellipses there?
No, there was a title of the article, and the first 3 letters of the actual article was with his son. What it comes down to is they're going to brainstorm. JJ's going to do the idea thing because he's really good at ideas and directing movies. And then his son's going to write the story because JJ doesn't have time for that. He doesn't have time for small potatoes like comic books. I'm saying this. I don't know if he does or not.
Right.
But that's for his son.
We don't know J.J. Abrams. We don't know how busy he is.
We're not super...
I'm a fan of most of his movies that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So, for what it's worth. Initially, when I heard this, my reaction was literally to go, whatever. And then I just kept scrolling.
Yeah.
Because I'm reading a Spider-Man book right now for the first time consistently in my life. I've read Spider-Man stories in the past. I read a decent amount of Ultimate. I've read, Spider-Man Blue, kind of just here and there. I like Spider-Man a lot, but I've never really stuck to reading him because there's so much. When do you even get in?
Yeah.
And then Nick Spencer.
And then there's crossovers.
Exactly.
And that's always the
which Spider-Man book do I read?
Our friend Carly described it because she's been trying to make a timeline of X-Men comics.
Right.
And it's like, well, if I follow this X-Men publication, and then there's a crossover or a character comes over, and I haven't been reading all the other X-Men's, do I know what's happening? And then I can't follow 6 books. I could follow 1.5 books.
Right.
But then which ones do I want? And they try to say, well, like any of them, if you like they try to describe it out, and like there's not really many differences. And it's the same thing with the 4 or 5 Spider-Man books that are out. But JJ has some really nice things to say about getting to work with his son, who is, I believe he was 20.
20-year-old son Henry Abrams.
And
artist Sarah Pichelli. And colorist Dave Stewart.
Those are all recognizable names except for one of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, the one who's writing it.
And like you said, normally, whatever, okay. And at first, I didn't read the whole thing because I'm only seeing headlines. Yep. Well, it's J.J. Abrams. And I go, all right, like Joss Whedon wrote some comic books, and he came from doing all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And Astonishing X-Men was really good.
Astonishing was fantastic. Astonishing was astonishing even.
It was. And I come from a place where I don't like certain artists. If they're not good enough, then they shouldn't be taking the place of other artists who are trying really hard at their job.
Right.
And like, JJ, do you really have to take a title away from another writer? Like, couldn't we let someone make their money writing comics who's a comic writer? Like, are you taking that away from them? Like, maybe they deserve that spot. I'm not saying JJ doesn't. I don't mind people branching out to do new things. J. Michael Straczynski has been doing a lot. He got started doing TV scripts.
Right.
He's responsible for Babylon 5 and a bunch of other stuff, and then he made the jump to do his own comics. And, like, he has his own line of comic books now, too. And he did a whole bunch of Spider-Man. But my thought was, like, well, I think Jay's too big. Is that fair to other writers? Like, did we care when Kevin Smith was going to be writing Green Arrow or Black Cat?
It's tough for me to get in on that because I know, like, Quiver and all that stuff was way before I was into comics.
Mm-hmm.
And me being a biased piece of garbage, I'm like, but I love Kevin Smith.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I want Kevin Smith to mix. But, like, if it was
But I'm naming people who do have a history of creating.
Right.
They have evidence of here's stuff that I have made. Here's what's backing me up. Here's my history. You can look to that and see if I'm good at my job.
I think the main part that I don't, because I'm still kind of ambivalent on this, but the fact that it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's not, because I did see a reply where.
Yeah, let's start with that. Because I'm saying, like, well, it's a superstar taking place of what a regular writer could be. But then when you actually look in the articles and go, no, it's really just going to be more of his son who hasn't proven himself in the biz. And we don't get to look.
I didn't even know J.J. Abrams had a son, let alone a son named Henry.
Yeah. It's like, well, can you point me to what he's done?
He was 20.
Can you direct me to the work that he has behind him? To be honest, I haven't looked for anything. Let's see. what comes up? But one of the things that I spotted, it was off of a Bleeding Cool article, which is very difficult to look at because there's millions of ads. There's literally hundreds of ads on the Bleeding Cool website.
Yeah.
It's painful.
For real, Bleeding Cool. We need to have intervention. Because it is brutal.
But I had sent it to you because I asked you if you saw it. John Layman, writer of Jared's favorite comic book, Chew, had posted, making comics since 1995, deliver quality scripts on time and hassle-free, have 2 Eisners and 7 comic book New York Times bestsellers, pursued Marvel work since mid-2016, and was told this year by a critical source, Marvel won't hire you. And then he ends that tweet with, "Congrats, J.J. Abrams' kid, on the new Spidey gig."
Yep.
And there's a few tweets that came after that.
And the one thing that there was a reply from Jamal Yassim Eagle,
Eagle, yeah.
Eagle, saying, "Oh, come on, do you really think it's who you know that gets you hired? What about proven comics writers like CM Punk and Max Landis?" Max Landis, he's had a rough week. But like the CM Punk thing, I was like, I don't know about that one, and I could be wrong here, but CM Punk was on Drax.
He was on a 4-issue mini of Drax,
and he also did. There was like a Thor annual or something that was like a bunch of short stories, and I think he wrote one of them that Rob Guillory drew way back, but that was like 4 or 5 pages, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, yeah, it's Drax. Like, you know, and Max Landis did the Superman. He did American Alien. Was it American Alien? Is that what it was called?
That was like a 2-issue, right?
It was 7, I think.
Really?
Yeah, it was longer.
Was that online only, or was that?
No, I have every issue of it.
Okay.
Because this is back when like Max Landis. Hindsight. I get that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like Max Landis had written movies. He had shit under his belt.
Mm-hmm.
And CM Punk loves comic, and they put him on a smaller book.
And even if it's Superman, it's like a side story, or it's
right.
alternate reality, it's alternate universe kind of thing.
But so this Spider-Man one probably is
title.
too, if I had to guess.
I think, I don't know if it was a alternate storyline, or for something different, or like a side quest.
All we know is that it's just Spider-Man.
They might call it that,
right?
And that's how a lot of the miniseries happen. They get called like there's a not ellipses. What's that called?
Sorry, I was busy Googling to make sure I had the title right for Superman. It was Superman American Alien. What'd you say? Ellipses? Semicolon, yes.
It's usually like the name colon and then like, it's like all the Batman books. How many Batman miniseries has there been? Lots.
Thousands. It's like Spider-Man Blue. It doesn't take place in like the main storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It's an individual story.
It can fit in wherever you want it to. Like this has been being touted as a Spider-Man and Mary Jane book, or a Peter and Mary Jane book.
Right.
So I figure it'll take place in the regular universe. It's not Amazing Spider-Man. It's not like the headlining book, but it's a pretty big title. And like maybe they could have had him do a
Drax
Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy offshoot title. There's how many books coming out with War of the Realms right now?
Oh God, they're everywhere.
Hey, man,
and I'm really enjoying War of the Realms, by the way.
Really?
Russell Dowderman, oh my God.
That's one of those ones where I'm not going to pick up anything until I could get like a trade collection.
I'm just reading the main storyline and Thor. That's it. But like the actual main War of the Realms, I'm very much enjoying. Malekith is such a bastard. Anyways, but I get it. There's a lot of War of the Realms books.
Yeah, and but you know they're going to spawn a lot of characters. There's a lot of other stories you could put someone on. For any other writer who wants to write at Marvel, they would be told like, "Well, give me a pitch something, do a 5-pager. We'll see how it is. We'll see how it works." And this isn't that. I feel like it's as much just like a publicity shot for Marvel to say Abrams' name a whole bunch.
Yeah, I mean it gets people's attention. He's one of the biggest names like in the industry. He did the Star Wars. He brought Star Wars back. Oh my God! And then he everything else that's amazing that he's done. Like you say, he did Lost. He did Star Wars. He did Cloverfield, which the first one was great, and then the second one was okay, and then the third one I heard is bad.
I like the third one.
I haven't seen it, so I can't really give. I just from like 2 people.
If people, I'm trying to think of like how to phrase it or my analogies.
And we don't need to go on a Cloverfield deep dive.
If you're expecting another monster movie, that's not what it is. Relax, it's something different. The name's similar, but it's still weird, and there's still good acting in it.
Yep.
Baron Zemo was in it too.
Right. Yes. The guy who played him, I'm assuming you mean.
Yeah.
Not the actual character of Baron Zemo in Cloverfield Paradox.
That would be amazing. Yeah, so there's some creators out there who work in comics who are feeling like saying, this is bullshit.
Right.
And some just go, well, what are you going to do?
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be groundbreaking. Maybe he'll be the next Brian K. Vaughan. Maybe Henry's got some really neat ideas up his sleeve.
That's
and he
true.
Just needs a little bit of help with pops.
They got to get their first shot.
They got a good artist, great colorist.
Who would have thought Gerard Way would have an amazing series on
Netflix?
On Netflix.
Yeah, that it's a big deal. Like everyone was talking about that show for how it cycles through. Like everyone was talking. I'm even late to it, and the last episode aired 2 weeks ago. Like I just watched Chernobyl, and up until that was done, it was all anyone would talk about. Like the latest episode of Chernobyl, because now that Game of Thrones is done.
But I don't know what Gerard Way had to prove himself beside his band for Image to go. Was it Image?
No, it was Dark Horse.
Dark Horse, thank you.
Yep.
For Dark Horse to go, yeah, sure, do a comic book. Here's 6 issues.
Right.
That was good. Do another volume.
Yeah.
What did he have to prove to them to get his chance?
Also, did he have to fund it? This is one thing I do not know.
I don't know how.
I don't know right. I don't know if it's like Image, where it's kind of like you fund your own book. If Image is even still like that, I don't know if Dark Horse was running to the same tune when Umbrella Academy came out, or if it was just like, hey, I got this idea, and Dark Horse really liked it. I wonder if he pitched it to different places. Like, can you imagine?
And they go, oh, it's the band guy. His name will draw numbers.
Right. Yeah. It's
oh, luckily the story's also good too.
And now there's a new season on the when you go to watch Umbrella Academy, it's like, oh, confirmed season 2. I mean, they kind of had to, but there's a direction I hadn't mentioned before. Yes.
We started recording. This is the complete opposite of Joe Hill. Right?
Oh yeah, because Joe Hill, nobody knew who he was until deep into his career.
He purposely chose not his real name.
Yeah.
To get his career started and be a writer.
Because I haven't read any of Joe Hill's books, but I know a lot of people have been talking about Nosferatu lately because there's a show.
Yeah.
And I've touted Lock and Key as one of my favorite comic books for years. And every time there's a hint of there's a show, there's not a show. There's a show, not a show. I think it's currently in the there's a show phase.
Oh, yeah. There's production.
Yeah.
If it's not airing yet, it'll air very, very soon.
Because there was a pilot a couple years ago, but no one picked it up.
That was for Lock and Key.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I mean, this is for Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah. Nosferatu is a show.
Yeah.
It is happening. I believe it's airing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joe Hill is Stephen King's son.
I had no idea. You told me that to me.
One of the most prolific authors in history. He's just my dad. But from what I understand, he went by Joe Hill on purpose because he didn't want to, coattails and all that. It's like Nicolas Cage. He's Francis Ford Coppola's nephew or something. I don't even know.
They're related, yeah. But hearing that, because I heard that first before I actually read Joe Hill stuff.
Right.
Or before I read Lock and Key. And that's something that would actually drive me away. If you're like, oh, that's someone famous' son, I go, oh, I don't have to be involved with that now. I can avoid that. But since I hadn't read Lock and Key first, and I think you were pitching that to me.
Right.
That meant more than what his name was because the work was good.
Right. And it was one of, I can't remember even, I've told my Lock and Key story about how I picked that up. I just picked it up on a whim on a free comic book day. And I was like, that was a neat issue. And then, it went on, slowly picked up the trades or the volumes one by one. But yeah, and I hate being just such a centrist about it, because that's a position that I take so frequently where it's just I'm whatever about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me mad, but I'm not happy about it. I'm probably not going to read it if I'm going to be honest. I'm reading the Nick Spencer, Ryan Ottley Spider-Man. And that's pretty much all the Spider-Man I need, and I'm already spending too much money on comics on a weekly basis as it is.
To keep going, to take this in more father-son relationships.
Yep.
Because we just Father's Day's coming up. We did this on purpose.
Yeah, this was totally planned.
We did as a Father's Day.
It wasn't. We weren't desperate for content.
Last year, an article came around about Matt Wagner and his work on Batman.
Yeah. Matt Wagner, who created
Grendel, Mage.
Yep.
Drew a lot of them. A lot of like a full volume of Grendel was drawn by Tim Sale.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Tim Sale's worked on a lot of Grendel. But like you've seen Matt Wagner's work if you frequent comic shops. You've seen his characters. You've seen versions of what he's done. He did a hardcover Trinity series of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was asked to do. He was working with Tom King. I think he was doing just the one issue. I believe
54.
Yeah, and the story had a lot of like father-son tones between Batman and the Robins, and they're saying this could mean a lot for Matt to work with his son, which lost his name, Brennan, and Brennan was going to color it.
Yes,
he did his work, turned in the art, and the editor got back to Matt and goes, "Sorry, your son's fired. We don't like his colors. We're going to use someone else to color the book.
We're going to use an in-house DC colorist."
And Matt wasn't really okay with that. He thought the art was fine, the colors were correct, and the complaint was like they weren't really in tone with the rest of the Batman comics.
They were too different from the series' usual stylings. Article on CBR from last August of 2018.
And Matt was pretty hurt by that because he really, it's not just the case of like, well, I want my kid to do it. It's like, my kid is good. He's good at his job. Let him do his job. And DC decided, sorry, but nah. And so I want to maybe point at the companies. DC deciding like, hey, we want a different kind of quality on our books. And is that to say, like, are they a completely different company from Marvel who goes, yeah, we'll let this guy have a shot at Spider-Man?
Right.
There's also a lot of other people that comic companies will hire that we don't agree with because they're just not good.
In our humble opinion.
It's, you know what? You should just never give Rob Liefeld work ever again. Please. Dear God. Please stop giving Rob work. But, I mean, Matt Wagner's son can't keep a coloring job, which I feel is unfortunate. I would trust him, but I'm also a sucker for Matt Wagner.
It's true. Like, is there
oh, yeah, for me,
is there
there is. I trust this man's opinion. Yeah, so there's a lot of father-son stuff going around.
Which I think is rad. I mean, I think a lot of, it's like when you see Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr., batting one after the other, or like playing the outfield together, like shit like that. It's wholesome. Mm-hmm. But then there's also like the realist, like, well, it's great that you got to feel nice, but honestly, did the right person get the job?
Yeah.
And it's again me taking my centrist, such a wise centrist I am.
So let's see. The artist who took over the spot, I'm gonna pronounce his name wrong, was Tomu Mori, Tomeu. That's his first name. I'm not gonna get that right. But he has like 500 credits of working on comic book issues for DC, or at least throughout comics.
How about, did you look up Brendan by any chance?
I didn't. Did you?
Because I hadn't, because I, unfortunately, being a bad person, I don't know too many colorists. Like Dave Stewart rings a bell. Laura Martin, one of my favorites. Also, I mean, she sticks a lot because she's such a sweet woman, and we had such a cool like experience meeting her at Boston Comic Con a couple years ago. You seem to be making a surprised face.
There was a follow-up article.
A farticle, if you will.
Let's see. I'm not finding a comic vine for Brennan. Oh, there it is. Okay. Brendan Wagner's second chance to color Batman 54 if he copies Tomu Mori.
Oh, there's a follow-up. So everything we're saying could be...
So he was offered to get the job back.
Right.
But basically, he would have to do exactly what
it wouldn't be in his style.
Tomu had done.
Right. It's like when Ryan Otley first started on Invincible. It was very similar to like Corey Walker.
Yeah.
In a way, whether that was intentional or he was forced to or not. But did he end up doing that?
Let's see. He would have to provide. He confirms his colors to match the style of Tomu, the series' regular artist. Let's see. No offense against him, but Brennan can't simply change his stripes to something he's not any more than I could. Somehow crowbar my drawing style into looking like Lee Weeks or Tony Daniels, saying they're very good artists.
Right,
and his style doesn't match theirs. He said it was a tone-deaf attempt at reconciliation.
Oof. Sounds like he didn't take it. That is a little shitty, if I'm honest. Like, yeah, you can do it as long as you just don't do it your way.
And besides, Brennan is busy coloring Mage.
Is that also with his dad, or is that just his?
That's his dad's book.
Now, is Mage a current series? Yes. Is it coming out right now?
Yep. So that was I had to immediately close the page because some article popped up and opened a new website.
Nice.
Thanks, Bleeding Cool.
Nice.
Thank you for that.
Oh, it was Bleeding Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
No surprises.
That like adds another layer that we weren't ready for.
Yeah. It didn't open the comic line either. Do that. Do the thing.
So we can see what Brendan has, because like it's cool that he's working with his on Mage. Like the guy's obviously got chops if he's putting books out, but it's still kind of a bummer to hear that because like it is jarring, and I have complained about this in the past. You know, like especially when I was new to comics and I was trying to read like all the Green Lantern books leading up to Sinestro Corps War,
right?
And like,
oh yeah,
every couple issues the art is completely different. And it's like, God damn it, I just want Ivan. Give me Ivan. And like sometimes it's a little jarring when it's like, who's on the art in this shit? It would happen with like Spider-Man. With like the current run, like I started reading the Nick Spencer Spider-Man book mostly like 99% because Ryan Otley was on the book. I really like Ryan Otley's art.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, oh, it's Ryan Otley. And then after 5 or 6 issues, it's going to switch over to, is it Delgado? I can't quite remember.
Which book is this?
The Amazing Spider-Man.
I don't know.
Because like Otley and...
what he switches with. No, not Delgado.
It wasn't Delgado?
No.
Who was it? Are you sure it wasn't Delgado? Yeah, it wasn't Delgado. Maybe it was.
So Brennan has like 90 coloring credits.
That's more than me.
So he's proven he has worked on a lot of Batman. He's worked on the Spirit.
Humberto Ramos. I apologize. It was Humberto Ramos switching out with Ryan Otley on Spider-Man. Anyways, continue.
He's done a lot of Spirit, a lot of Shadow. He's done things for Vertigo. He's done stuff for Dark Horse. We
didn't even talk about that.
Didn't we? Do we still have time? Mage is through Image right now. He's done some Sherlock Holmes for Dynamite. A lot of Grendel. He did some Green Arrow. He did the colors on Trinity too, Matt Wagner's Trinity, which that came out many years ago. One appearance with Cave Carson from DC. So, yeah, I guess that's not what they wanted for that particular Batman. And the company stood by it, and then said, "Well, do it, but do it like this other."
And then doubled down on it a little bit by with their tone deaf. But yeah, that's happy Father's Day, everyone.
That's some weird choices to make. Because a lot of times, like, to get personal, I grew up in a firehouse household.
Right.
My dad was a fireman. My brother became a fireman. My sister married a fireman. And for me, it was overkill. I don't want to do it.
Too much fire.
I was like, my dad says, "Hey, Al, you want to go to the firehouse?" And I go, "Okay." And then he goes, "Hey, I want to go to the firehouse." And I go, "All right."
We just went.
And then it's, "Hey, I want to go to the firehouse." And it's like, this is the 4th time this week. It is Tuesday. I'm okay with never going to fires ever again. But for some people, it works. Works for my brother.
Yep.
And for some people, do want to do what their parents did because, like, they get to watch them do it. Watching kids draw next to their parents who are drawing, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I'm into that. Or, like, people that follow their family into the medical field or lawyers or whatever. I don't want to say don't do it, but, like, if that's what you grew up being good at, then try for it. But there's the decision to earn your own way, and there's the decision to get by on your name.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, it would have been nice to be born into money.
Could you? What? Would Marvel have gone for it if Henry Abrams went under a pseudonym?
That's tough. That's because
no, I'm Abram Henry's.
When
I want to be a writer,
it can be. Not everyone can be like Joe Hill, and I don't even know how successful Joe Hill was until everyone was like, "Oh, that's who you are,"
right?
Because there's a fancy author, who goes by the name of, as soon as I can Google it,
right. Oh, is this where the books weren't that good
back in the day?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a book that came out called Cuckoo's Calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mystery book.
Right.
Written by Robert Galbraith. Galbraith.
It's a weird name.
Came out in 2013.
People actually have that name, or is that the name someone just picks out of a hat?
Apparently it's the name someone picks out of a hat. Because the book originally came out in 2013, and this is from my own personal experience. I don't know how well it sold everywhere else.
To measure the timelines, to really notice when it came out and how it did.
Yep.
Until a certain point.
So I was just reading a quick blurb just to get a little bit of info, but from my personal experience, this book came out, and then okay, whatever, and then it was eventually off the shelf. Back in the day when I was selling books, a hardcover book would come out. It had a shelf life of 3 months, 3 or 4 months, depending on how popular it was, and then typically 6 to 8 months later, it comes out in paperback, and then it goes from there. The Robert Galbraith book came out, had its usual shelf life, not a huge demand for it, but then, it's written by J.K. Rowling.
What?
Yeah, it was J.K. Rowling writing under a pseudonym. So then, Cuckoo's Calling skyrockets to the top of all the bestsellers. Can't keep that shit in stock. But before, and I used to always, me being the genius bookseller that I was, I was like, I feel like they made J.K. Rowling come out and say that it was her that wrote it because it wasn't selling the way they wanted it to sell.
Okay.
According to Wikipedia, before Rowling's identity as the book's author was revealed, 1,500 copies of the printed book had been sold since its release in April 2013, plus another 7,000 copies of the ebook, audiobook, and library editions. The book surged from 4,709th to the best-selling novel on Amazon after it was revealed on July 14th, 2013, that the book was written by Rowling under the pseudonym, which was 3 months later. Signed copies of the first edition are selling for $4,000 to $6,000. Again, this is according to Wikipedia.
What did she sign it as Robert?
I don't know. The book received almost universal critical acclaim. Most of the reviews came only after Rowling became known as the author, but the early reactions were generally complimentary as well. And then it came later on. There were sequels. Sequels, obviously, bestseller, without a doubt.
Did you ever hear the story of John Leguizamo early on in his career? A kid approached him and asked for his autograph, and he wrote down his name, John Leguizamo, and the kid goes, "John? Who's John?" And then he takes the paper back and goes, "Oh, all right. And he tears it up and gets a new piece of paper and writes down Luigi.
Oh, no.
And the kid's like, "Thanks, Luigi."
Thanks, clown. Because he was also clown.
In Spawn, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why it's like, hey, I got this signed by Robert. Who's JK?
Right?
I'm looking for Robert.
Who is this JK person? But yeah, I remember when that dropped out. I actually tried reading one of like J.K. Rowling's first book, like fiction book that she wrote like under her own name, like when like post Harry Potter casual vacancy, and I got like 30 pages in, and I was like, okay, I'm good. No, nothing. It's just like because I've the one Harry Potter book that I read, I fucking loved, but I don't know. I don't think her fiction book did very well for me, but.
Good luck to everyone playing Wizards Unite.
Yeah. Yep.
The new Niantic Pokemon Go game.
Is it by Niantic?
Yeah.
Is it seriously?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
That's how they're utilizing the area maps.
Huh.
I can't talk about it. I'm not playing it. I don't know enough about it.
It's hard to knock it when we were all obsessed with Go 2 years ago.
I still am playing Go.
I mean, you are one of the faithful, man, because Pokemon Go's had a bit of a resurgence lately, I feel like.
They introduced a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
It took them a while to get there. And so, like, because I posted about it, I was cracking jokes about Wizards Unite and Pokemon Go. And then someone else's friend commented on that going, it's just an Ingress cheap knockoff. And I go, well, yeah, we wouldn't have either of these games if it wasn't for Ingress. Ingress literally laid the maps for these games.
Right.
And the games are using Ingress's maps for all the locations.
We talked about that a while ago.
Not enough. we talked to the person who designed art for Ingress and like never talked about Ingress with them.
Yeah, we're journalists. People give us media badges. But yeah, Pokemon Go, man, it's and you've been one of those faithful.
Oh yeah, so like when the game started, it didn't have half as much as it has now between the different format for raid battles, for gyms. Now you can trade with friends. You can battle with friends. It's like we thought we'd never get to battle with friends or team members or whatever. But now we can. And now how they've worked with that and that technology, they've just been able to like shunt it over to Wizards in the Harry Potter game. And they could probably do something cool with that. I don't know what it is because I'm not playing.
If it gets like, is it like a similar kind of like get outside and be Harry Potter?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
So at some point, we should probably talk to someone who has played it.
Yeah, or even download it.
If anyone's interested in us talking to people who are good at Wizards Unite, let us know. And we'll look into a guest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'd like to be a wizard, so maybe I'll take a look into it. I have my fancy new phone.
What house is you?
What house is me? I don't know, dude.
Really?
I have no idea.
Have you taken any quizzes?
I think I did a while back, but I think it was like Gryffindor, and I was like, that's boring.
I just assume I'm Slytherin, to be honest.
It's probably accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know
one of the houses.
No, I don't know like what the qualities are of like Ravenclaw and Hufflepuff. But despite the fact that I got to hang up back when the last book, not like the last book, but the play book that came out. What was that book called?
The Child.
Cursed Child. Thank you. I sold books for 10 years, man. When Cursed Child came out, I got to do the midnight release, and it was a lot of fun, despite the fact that I had to leave my brother's wedding to go to the Cursed Child midnight release. But like they sent us all these banners to hang up.
Ooh.
And like there was one for each house, and they had like each like like loyalty and respect and cunning, and I don't remember any of them. But that was actually
other.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's Hufflepuff.
That's just Hufflepuff. Everyone else.
Yeah, the American house is where Ilvermorny. That's the name of the school. Instead of
Is this canon Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Is this okay?
Yeah. What's the name? Hogwarts. That's what it is.
Yeah.
We have Thunderbird, Wampus, Horned Serpent, and Puckwudgie.
Puckwudgie.
Yeah, I took the test. That's which one I am.
Huh.
I'm the one that no one wants to be, I figure. I feel like Puckwudgie is the Hufflepuff of the American house. The American school.
I feel like nowadays, even like I said with like a minute ago, like if you're Slytherin or Gryffindor, it's like, oh, cool.
Is there anything else?
Wizards. Yeah, I mean, comics are fun. Nepotism. Is it even nepotism? I'm just
in that case, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, JJ got the kid his job.
Yeah.
Kid, he's 20 years old. I don't think he'd have a job if it wasn't for his name or for his dad.
Right? Who knows?
So
I wasn't able to. I tried checking. I didn't find any sort of previous comic work on the internet.
It's
in
not
the
like
10-second Google search that I did.
It's not like I'm trying to think of people's names. who runs Marvel? It's not like
Quesada?
It's not like Quesada like made his kid in charge of like head editor or something.
Right. When he was 20. You know what I was?
One of the comments that was on that Bleeding Cool when they shared the tweet thread, someone had questioned someone's like, "Didn't you start when you were 16?" It's like, yeah, man, but that was 40 years ago. They, at some point, Stan just needed people to write comics. It's like, we just need people to put words in books.
It wasn't the multi-billion-dollar industry.
Do you want to do it? Yes. Okay. And like it was a difficult job to get.
Right.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up that one comment because I want to use it, but I'm not going to find it now.
It's almost like there's too many ads. Who knew?
But
comic books. If you agree, if you disagree, let us know in the comments. Wherever. There's comments on our website. You can comment on our website. It's weird too, because like they get like filtered through. It's like, you have comments awaiting moderation. And I was like, what? Has someone commented? Oh, it's just spam.
Oh.
Yep. There's been a couple actual legitimate comments
on our
way back in the day.
Oh yeah.
On our actual website, omvpodcast.com. But most of it's through Facebook. Facebook makes it nice and easy to both violate your privacy and leave comments on stuff at the same time. You see, they were taken off the ethical companies list for all their violations. Anyways, Facebook.com/opinions may vary. Instagram, opinions may vary podcast, all one word. Twitter @OMV podcast. Also, I believe on YouTube it is @OMV podcast. All the different socials. This is fun, Alex. It's good to be back in the chair.
Yay.
Good to shoot the shit with my pal after we played D&D last night.
Mm-hmm.
Much fun was had.
We solved a mystery.
I'm gonna go and poop in my toilet.
Yay.
Eventually.
Have fun.
Not necessarily right now.
Don't break the seat this time.
I will try not to. Everyone, like, as soon as I told, and you have to preface it, like, I woke up one day and the seat was already broken. It wasn't after I took like a mega shit. The seat was already broken. But yeah, I mean, after today, knock on wood, I've successfully changed out a toilet, which I couldn't say before today. Also, the wax rings that you need to put down for a toilet, when you peel those suckers up, man, it just stays on you.
You didn't wear gloves?
I did not wear gloves when peeling up the wax ring that kept my shit from spilling out on the floor.
Those things are gross.
They are. Very gross. But I figured I might as well just lean into it, you know? I could just wash my hands. What would a rough contractor do?
Oh, nothing. Just eat lunch.
This has been fun. Probably time to end because we're back on home ownership.
Yep.
You had a guy working on your house today.
Yeah. That took forever.
Man, it's amazing how loud someone can be with a hammer just outside. Or even on top of. Yeah. When we had our roof done, it's like, holy man, that's loud.
Are they just going to come right through the ceiling?
Yep. But this is fun. Rambling. I need to go home and get this uploaded. So that's going to do it. Until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
And this has been episode 379 of Opinions May Vary.